something is coming our way, and we're going to make it through it, and it's going to be fine, but it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough. Let me give you the news from the Middle East today. Iran has rejected our ceasefire proposals. Not a surprise there. They've made some concessions, such as allowing some fuel tankers through the Straits of Hormuz, but that's not gonna. Axios is reporting today, this morning, that, quote, a final blow is being prepared for launch. Okay, that doesn't sound really good. A final blow? Now, in the story, they are outlining the 4 possibilities, and I don't think these are who's going to... Is Hegseth calling up Axios and saying, we're looking at 4 possibilities here. So you don't have any idea what is real and what's not here. But they're describing the 4 objectives or options. 1, invading or blockading Karg Island. Okay. Invading a different island that is a main IRGC base to shut down the strait. So there's Karg Island where they actually are loading all of the oil and everything else, and it's also a defensive island for the strait. And then there's apparently another island that has the IRGC base, but why would we occupy it? Why wouldn't we just blow up the base? It's just me, maybe. Then option 3 is to invade and seize 2 other islands in the strait. I don't like any of those options, quite honestly. I don't like the idea of boots on the ground. But I understand if in a limited way we have to do it. Slippery slope. And then the other one is blocking or seizing ships that are carrying Iranian oil. None of those sound like a final blow. They sound like an expansion, but they don't sound like a final blow to me. Maybe it's just me. Jason, do these sound like a final blow to you?
I mean, that on its own does not sound like a final blow, but we don't know what the Israelis have in mind. So if this coincided with, opening up the straits, with also the Israelis targeting the, security forces on the ground, that sounds more of like it. But this seems just like the next step in the operation, really, to me.
Yeah, it does. It just seems like an expansion of this. Speaking of Israel, they just announced that last night they killed the IRGC naval chief. They are, they're deadly. They're deadly. Has anybody seen the, what is it, on Apple? Tehran. It came out a couple of years ago, and I wasn't interested, didn't watch it. And my wife said, hey, I talked to a friend. They said Tehran, they were watching Tehran. And it's really good. It is really good. Have you seen it, Jason? Have you seen it, Ricky?
I mean, I've seen the poster for it.
Yeah.
I've thought about diving in, but because I am concerned about the war, I actually didn't want to watch it.
Yeah.
I thought it would freak me out.
It's actually, it's very clarifying. It's also, if you like those old Cold War movies where about spies and how we got behind the Iron Curtain and everything else, this is like the Cold War. It's the spying of the Mossad on Iran and what Iran tries to do to stop Israel. And it's hair-raising. It is really, really hair-raising. I have no idea. It looks like it was all filmed in Iran. I don't know how they got that to happen because it's not really positive, on Iran, but maybe it's just me. Maybe they're thinking, oh, I like this because it says who they really are. But at the same time that we are talking about winding things down and having a final blow, multiple Arab countries that are aligned with us are now publicly urging that the conflict cannot end yet.
I'm sorry, Glenn. Can I interrupt you here?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Since when do Arab Gulf leaders want to destroy Iran as much or more than Israel? This does not square for me.
They're wanting to get involved. The reason why they haven't wanted to get involved in the past is not because they like Israel, because they don't want to set the Middle East on fire between Sunni and Shia. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, Jason. Love your analysis on this. They don't want to set the world on fire between Sunni and Shia, but they have no love at all. They are enemies with Iran, especially the 12ers in Iran. They are concerned this time around because Iran has struck their cities, their oil, in particular, their oil rigs and distribution centers, et cetera, if that falls, if they shut down the Strait of Hormuz and Saudi Arabia and these other countries can't get their oil out and sold, they begin to collapse. The reason why those Arab nations are so peaceful, look, they all get along, everybody gets along, and it doesn't look like the rest, is because of the money. They have so much money. They pretty much just put their extremists to sleep with money, I think. And so they kind of buy peace. If that money system falls apart, they're in real trouble. So got to get rid of the Shias, the 12ers in the Shia movement, according to any Sunni. And then also, we can't let this disrupt our system. It will set our own nation on fire. What do you think of that, Jason? Is that a good answer or not?
Yeah, I think it is. I think that the Saudis have a huge Shia population within Saudi Arabia, and a lot of them have seen exactly what Iran would want to do with a lot of these Gulf kingdoms, is what they did to Yemen, utilizing their proxies all over the country, all over the region, and that's a legitimate threat for all of these Gulf kingdoms. So they're worried about that for sure. But also, the Gulf kingdoms have become. I am so sick and tired.
Hang on just a second. Excuse me for. I'm gonna pretend I don't know what they did to Yemen. What did they do to Yemen?
So through the groups like the Houthis, one of the stupidest terror group names in modern history.
Right.
They.
I have a hard time taking them seriously at all.
They effectively pressured the Yemeni government into being a full-on proxy of Iran. That's exactly what happened in Lebanon through Hezbollah. This has been the strategy for Iran to slowly turn the entire region Iranian and dominated by 12er Shiism. So they're all aware of that threat. But also, I am so sick and tired of some of these Gulf Arab countries sending these strongly worded letters. We mean it this time, guys. They just did this yesterday. All of us, and they put all the countries on there, every Gulf Arab kingdom. We're getting pissed. Okay, if you are, why don't you take responsibility for your own region for once, and not wait on us to do it for you?
But I think that's what Donald Trump was trying to do with the peace accords, trying to get them to step up and take responsibility for their own region. And I think that's also kind of the leverage that he has when he's like, guys, we're not here. We're not going to fight your war anymore. We're not going to get entangled in a long, drawn-out war. This is on you. Yeah. This is exactly what he's doing to Europe, too. Exactly. We're not here to fight your war anymore with Russia. You're buying oil from them. Yep. So don't expect us to hold them at bay anymore. That's your deal, not ours. And I think he's saying the same thing to the Arab world. And that message is coming through loud and clear, perhaps for the very first time.
I'm so glad you brought up Europe and that strategy, because we know the Trump doctrine at this point. It is to empower these regions to do it themselves, whether that be Europe, even when that be in Southeast Asia, countries like Japan. Why is Japan still operating like it's still 1950 and they're still in Reconstruction? The entire world is operating like it's still post-World War II Reconstruction. That's got to end. It's got to end today.
Well, it is. You saw what's happening with Japan. I mean, this is, anybody who says, this isn't America first. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's just not necessarily the obvious version of America first. The obvious and utopian, but almost cartoonish version of America first is we just withdraw from everywhere. That can't happen. You cannot build a world with American troops on the ground all over the world and then just bring them all home. The world would collapse into chaos. So you have to first, before you take something away, especially if somebody is dependent on it, you have to give them either something else to become dependent on, or you have to get them to be strong enough to wean themselves off of that dependence. That's what he's been doing, and he's doing it in a remarkably fast way. Remember, this has been since 1945. Yeah. And in 2 years, less than 2 years, he has said to Europe, you're going to be on your own soon. Well, soon in global government terms is, glacier-like movement. It's, it would take decade or decades to move. He's saying it's going to happen soon. It's going to happen maybe by the end of the term. You better get yourself prepared for us not being here. And he's doing the same thing with Saudi Arabia and the entire Middle East and Israel and everybody. We're going to take care so there's no nuclear missiles, because Donald Trump knows nukes are the absolute worst. It means we're all vaporized. So we're going to take care of that, but we're not here to solve this problem. That's your job. And so he's holding them right now both at bay. But I have a feeling that if this is a final blow, if that language is actually coming from the White House, that's another signal. Look, we're not going to get involved deeper than this. We are delivering what we can deliver. We will make sure that strait is open and the flow of oil is happening. We will help there because we have the largest Navy in the world. That is a responsibility we volunteer to take on because it helps us as well as the rest of the world. But we're not solving your problem in the Middle East. You got this Sunni Shia thing going on. You got the terrorism thing going on. Yes, it affects us. We've just dropped a lot of ordinances on that country. We have taken them and neutered them as much as we can. The rest of it is up to you. And I think that is a win if that's what he's doing. So there is something else on this. Russia also announced yesterday that they are preparing to send drones to Iran. That is marking a shift from indirect to direct military support. That's not a good sign if you're looking to bring things down. We have proxy tensions now becoming direct alignments, and major powers all over the world thinking, I'm going to get involved or not. I hope we are thinking, let's end this soon and come on home and let everybody else deal with it, but we'll see. Huge red flags in Europe on free speech. They have a problem in their country, in England, in Germany, in all of Europe, has a problem. The Islamists have moved in and they are taking control. I don't know if you really understand what happened with the latest election with the Green Party in England, but the Green Party, green, for the earth is now green because of Islam. It is an Islamic party now. And it is becoming quite frightening what's going on, especially with the return of blasphemy laws now in England. They're not traditional laws that are being passed by Parliament. They're doing regulatory guideline crap. But, it is really, really bad. You mock, you joke, you question. You have legitimate questions about Islamic policies, traditions, practices. Hey, I think somebody's raping my child. If it makes a Muslim feel uneasy, unwelcome, or uncomfortable, they're saying now you'll go to prison. That's not a free society anymore. That's not a free society. How is Tommy Robinson going to be able to hold his, rally? How's he ever going to be able to go home or voice legitimate concerns and not spend the rest of his life in prison? The answer is he can't. And that has been the plan all along. This is not about protection of minorities or religion. This is about silencing any watchman on the wall that sees trouble coming and says, hey, we should talk about this. This is happening in America. Let me give you just a few examples. We just did this special. It's at glennbeck.com/torch. I want you to see this. It's really in depth. People don't understand how close this is. Let me give you this. This is Islamic protesters in Philadelphia. Cut 4, please. Listen to what he's saying.
Until we have done everything in our power to bring the United States to its knees, let us not lose sight of the enemy. For every U.S. military base that crumbles, and for every U.S. soldier who returns home in a casket, we cheer.
Since when do we allow this kind of stuff? They're talking about overthrowing America and cheering for our soldiers coming home in caskets killed by Hezbollah or Hamas. That's in Philadelphia, gang. That's in Philadelphia. And I got a long list of this stuff we'll get into here in a second, but we're going to go to somebody who actually knows what's actually going on in the ground with the people in Iran next. And if you are a Torch subscriber, I am sorry to say we are being attacked again. We are being cyber hacked again. And I'm telling you, it has everything to do with what we're talking about right now.